This is a 1971 Plymouth Roadrunner. I've owned it. I did the restoration on it myself. I've owned it for about 12 years. Bought it out of a lot up in Denver where someone bought it to restore it but never got anywhere with it. So it took a lot of work. There's a lot of rust on it. A lot of panels had to be replaced because it had just been sitting there for a long time and was hurting. But I did all the work myself, including the metal work and body work and paint work, and put it all together. And it took about 2 years of effort to get the whole thing ready, all put together and road ready. I think the thing about classic cars is they're never finished. There's always something that you've got to do. There's always something, a little tweak you got to do to just make it a little better. And I think any car restorer will tell you that there's always work to be done. My plans for it, well, I've owned it all this time. Some guys who restore cars will then just sell them, but I guess I'm not that smart. I just restore them and hang on to them. I have about four cars in my garage now that I've restored, and I'm working on another one, which is a 56 Dodge pickup. But my plans are just to drive them and enjoy them. And it's, this car especially, when you get it out on the road, you stop at a stoplight, you can't stop at a stoplight without someone giving you a thumbs up or yelling across and saying, man, what a beautiful car. And it's got some pretty loud exhaust on it, so if you don't see it, you'll hear it. So it gets people's attention.
Well, it started life as a 1966 VW Bug. This was the second car I ever owned. This was my high school car. I drove it I graduated high school in 1977. It was a stock Bug like everybody has, and being a kid, I crashed it, so I made a Baja Bug out of it. Drove it up until the mid-1990s just as a driver. Let it sit, drug it around forever and ever, and about 3 years ago, I decided to redo it, and I always wanted to do one of these truck conversions, which I had seen back when I was a kid and couldn't afford to do one. So I looked around for a kit and found one, and here we have Odus, the Sudo truck. He actually has a name. He also has a cousin called Stanley, the short bus, who has a Facebook page that they share.
Really?
Yeah. So we have lots of pictures. We take Odus and Stanley to car shows like this one here, and regular hot rod shows and Volkswagen car shows, and have just a really good time with them. I pretty much drive him every weekend. Doesn't matter if it's raining or snowing or whatever, he gets driven.
This is a 1967 Plymouth Barracuda. I've owned it since 1972. I actually dated my wife in this car, and I still have my wife. So, that's an accomplishment in itself. We did a full restore on this in 2003, started in 2001. Took about 2 years to do a full restore on it, all the way down to the frame. Like I say, I dated my wife in this car. It was in Daytona Beach, Florida. Drove it on the beach with salt and sand, and of course that's not good for metal. So there was a lot of rust, and I thank the people who did the body work, because I think it's fantastic, the work that they did. 8 coats of black, 4 coats of clear, a boatload of hours of wet sand to get it look like this, but it's basically a mirror. But it comes with the original 273 Commando engine. In today's lingo, that's a 5-liter. And originally put out about 235 horse, but the car only weighs 2,600 pounds, so it doesn't take much to get it up to speed. So, legally, I've probably broken the speed limit, but I wouldn't tell anybody how high. But it's a fun car. We take it out, my wife and I take it out on days like today, and just enjoy it and sound like these other cars that are going by. Yeah. Because it's a V8, and V8s are supposed to sound like this. Like I say, a lot of the purists, I'm sure you can see in the background, there's a big wing on the back. A lot of the people say, you know, why did you do that? Well, because I can. Because it's my car and my money and I'm going to do it. But we actually modeled it after a car that was used in a movie called Corky, where they mounted a Superbird wing on the back of a '69 Barracuda so that Robert Blake could pretend he was a NASCAR. Of course, it was a terrible movie, but the car was cool. So they used that in a '73 Die Hard commercial, Sears Die Hard, and I said, I got to do that to mine someday. So someday came and I did. So it's just fun. People look at it and say, what the heck is that? And I say, it's a Barracuda. No, it's not a Superbird. Oh, it's a Barracuda. Cool.
Okay, so we're here at the Mega Mopar pre-show, which we're at the First and Main car show. And I want to thank everybody for coming out. It was a success. We had 395 cars. And I'm standing in front of the CDCC, which is the Dodge Challenger Club here, Colorado Dodge Challenger Club. These are some members, some friends of mine that I'm standing with here. We had the Southern Colorado Mopars, they was here, and we had a record turnout. I want to thank everybody for coming out. It was a beautiful day. And yeah, here's another friend of ours right over here. Yeah, he's with the racing, Colorado Dodge racing team, okay? And we're going up to Vandermeer in the morning. We're gonna be representing the CDCC, and it's just more to come. Next month, we're gonna be back here again for the first Saturday car show at First and Main. I want to thank everybody for coming out. See you next month.
I was wondering where that had gone.